Hola, LJZ here, and welcome to my running shoe journey, part 3. So anyway, continuing on with my running journey. Ninth grade, I wore, check out part 2 if you have not done so. In it, I talk about the Asics GT 2160s. I had 2 pairs of these, and I wore them for most of 9th grade. But then, after 9th grade track and cross country, there was a race coming up. It takes place in November, actually Thanksgiving morning. It's called the Turkey Trot. Don't know if you've heard of it. I've heard they've had multiple Turkey Trot races around the country. I personally go to one near where I live in Pennsylvania. And anyway, it's a big event. It takes place, well, the starting gun goes off at 10 a.m. So I tend to get there 8 o'clock, so I have a good 2 hours to just warm up, get in the hardcore mindset, and get ready to kick some ass. But anyway, I kind of treat the Turkey Trot as a very, very important event. A lot of people show up. I remember when I went to run this in November of 9th grade. November of 9th grade, it had like a record number of people in attendance. So it is a growing event. And it's a 5K race. Takes place on the city streets. Pretty fast course, let me tell you. Not many hills. And the thing is, seeing as it takes place on Thanksgiving morning, it tends to be quite chilly. I remember on some occasions it ended up actually downpouring. So you have what, the 60, the 50, maybe 40 degree weather, in addition to frigid water being thrown on you. That is pretty hardcore. Anyway, I knew I needed a new pair of running shoes, preferably ones that would work well on the hard road. So I did need a good amount of cushioning. Now, I went to Flying Feet, and I decided, after always running in ASIC running shoes, I decided to depart a little bit from the norm, and I decided to try out Saucony. Okay? And the people Flying Feet, for my foot, you know, I need stability, they recommended the Saucony Guide 4s. Now, this is besides the point. It was kind of unfortunate because it turns out just a couple days after I got the Guide 4s, the new upgraded version, the Guide 5s, came out. Kind of disappointing. Got the Guide 4s, wore them throughout the Turkey Trot in 9th grade. Then I actually ended up wearing these shoes for the Turkey Trot the following year in 10th grade. I'll get more into my 10th grade experiences in the next part. But anyway, I would have to say this shoe it's good. Let me say that. It is extremely breathable. The mesh is even more thin up here. But that can also be its downfall. Now you see, with me, and I wouldn't say I have a high mileage regimen. I'd say currently I'm doing like, okay, right now, going into 11th grade, I'm doing, what, 50, 55 miles a week, and it's increasing still. But back then, I was doing probably like 40, 45. The mesh. That is the downfall of this shoe. You may be thinking, wait a sec, mesh, it's breathable. How is that bad? It's bad when there's too much friction on the mesh. And here's an example of what was going on. Now basically, my foot would hit the mesh, and as you can see right there, that's a tear in the shoe itself. That is an entire tear, and you can see right there, it's actually really thin. If I were to put this on my foot, you could see my toe poking through that hole. So it was causing to break through the mesh. That wasn't exactly a pleasant experience. But other than that, good cushioning on the back. A lot of this cushioning. And also the bottom, you may notice, has a very interesting sole. But it does help you grip the road a bit more. And it also, the way it's made, it's pretty flexible. So all in all, I really like this shoe. It was cushioned. The only thing I didn't like was the mesh, and also I realized the heel on this shoe was a bit too large for me. Now this further added on to my whole heel striking, and I realized I personally wanted to change. Now I know there's a lot of people out there who are heel strikers and they're professional runners. They have no problem with it. I understand. I could have continued being a heel striker if I wanted to, but I just felt it was not good for my running body, and I just felt to change away from a heel striker it would be a benefit to my running. It was just a personal issue. And this shoe was definitely not helping on my heel striking. Okay, it was encouraging it even more. Luckily it is well cushioned, so if you are a heel striker you shouldn't have many issues. I just wanted to personally get away from the whole heel striking deal. But anyway, basically I wanted to get more into minimalist style shoes, which I will get into the next part as well. But this shoe I'd have to give it a 2.5 out of 5. A 3.5, a 3 out of 5 is average. This is slightly under average just because of the fact that the mesh and this area of the shoe is pretty flimsy. It does wear out a lot faster than you would expect. I remember just a week after I ran the Turkey Trot in these shoes, I already saw signs of wearing. Luckily, when it usually gets to this stage of tearing and it stops, it can't get any worse. That's a good thing, but it shouldn't be tearing in the first place. So 2.5 out of 5. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you. Oh yes, and I almost forgot to mention this. In my running shoe journey videos, in these videos I'm going to be talking about basically the shoes I wore for practice and for just mainly for practice. My cross-country spikes and my track spikes I'm not going to get into. But if you would like to see a video on those, maybe comment below and tell me you'd like to see what shoes I wore for track and cross country, you know, what spikes I wore. But personally I'm just going to get into these like more practice shoes. So yeah, thanks.